Cloning present more benefits or more dangers to a society? Should we clone humans? Um, I don't think we should clone humans. I don't think it provides any benefits because in Cloning Crisis from that article, other professionals said that his data was irregular, so it wasn't really stable. It always had up and downs. That was a what if statement, though.
It's not a what if statement. It's just common fact that if you do something over and over again, you're gonna get better at it.
Tried 50 times.
That's not enough to create a human, Ryan.
Exactly.
Straight from a
so
test
it's a
tube.
what if? It's not gonna.
It's still going to be expensive though. Like,
Is Chris gonna go? Chris hasn't gone yet.
Yep. The article I found, it was the cons of human reproductive cloning. It kind of goes along with what you said. There's hundreds of failed pregnancies while trying to do the cloning. So it'd take a while just to get that one clone.
You should clone humans. Hold on.
I don't think we should clone humans. I think we should more so clone the endangered species or like things that have gone extinct, minus dinosaurs, because we don't need them.
I mean, even when you're creating a clone, yeah, you can create the clone and like genetically with all the traits and stuff, but that's just I mean, it's more difficult to even have to create the clone like as birthing the clone. So I don't think it'd really be possible or necessary for us to put the time and money into cloning something like that.
Gotta go do some research.
because I mean, it's basically like the same thing. Like, why are animals less important than humans?
Why are they less important?
Why are animals less important than humans, Blake?
Are we talking just in a cloning matter, or are we talking like why are we more important than animals?
Cloning.
Cloning wise, humans would be more important than animals only because of you get better test results, and on top of that, I mean exactly, it wouldn't really be like the right thing to make a new human and clone a human and then just use it only for like a test subject, but you would get better results and you probably would get better data off research like medicine or anything like Anthony was saying. I can agree with Anthony for getting better results for like finding cures for humans or fighting diseases or stuff like that, but I mean if you were just going to clone a human, I don't think that would be the best idea. I mean, you're just kind of like creating like this soulless body.
And creating more population.
Yeah,
We're already overpopulated.
I mean, I don't think they'd just be creating clone after clone. I don't think they'd be creating like 100,000 clones because that's kind of stupid. If like one or two or something, or if like maximum like 100 subjects for cancer research or something like that, that'd be a good idea. But I don't know. I couldn't exactly agree with creating a human.
Neither could I. After
So the population issue isn't a thing either if they just die in a month.
Well, I mean, you said a full-blown healthy human to go ahead and for your test subject, right? Like Anthony was saying. So I mean, you would kind of have to ensure that the human would survive long enough to be able to go through the tests. So I mean, you would have to make sure you nail the cloning process perfectly, and that might cost a lot of money. That's for sure. So I mean, even it might be a spendy process, but is it spendy enough to cure cancer? That's all I'm saying. I mean,
Donations go to cancer.
exactly. Yeah, donations go there all the time. So I mean, with all the money that dumps in, you could probably just dump some money into cloning.
Cloning a pet, house pet.
Cloning a house pet would be $100,000. So do you think cloning a human would be around 500,000, maybe $1 million?
Around there.
Something like that. I mean, the process doesn't really seem that complicated, but
It costs about 20,000 to clone a cow, and it costs about 150,000 per horse to clone a horse. And house cats can be cloned privately for $32,000. So you can. There already are cloning animals and for like research and like populating places, and for the cat cloning they've been successful because it just takes a while.
So after cloning casual house pets and going after studies with, failed processes of animals not living as long, even though it would be a delicate process and maybe it would be spendy for human, cloning, only for the research based, I mean, is it worth it to clone a human?
I would say kind of if they actually spent the money going towards cures for diseases.
Yeah, because a $25,000 horse, or how much did you say? 25,000 or
150,000.
150,000 for a horse. So what?
20,000 for a cow.
Yeah, so 500,000 to probably $1 million for a human, most likely.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the article I had was called "Bringing Back the Mammoth," and I have it on my iPad. Let me grab it for you.
High success rate because the success rate ranges from 0.1% to 3%, which is very low. So it's almost like throwing away money. So it wouldn't really benefit if you really think about it.
If that clone's a clone of a human, what makes it not a human?
I got you.
That was my big question. Does this mean that once a human is cloned, or does this human not have like a soul? Is this thing just?
They have a soul, but because people are more than a product of their genes, a clone would have its own personality, character, and intelligence. So we could obviously make the clone pretty much a vegetable, like in Brave New World, how they can take the oxygen out of like
I forgot what it's called.
tubes?
The little tubes, yeah.
Yeah, the tubes thing. They can take oxygen in and out, and like.
So pretty much make the human just a couch potato.
We can they can literally just make the human have traits of a human, like the genetic makeup of a human, but not act.
Does that does that seem a little bit messed up?
Ethical?
For a greater good, it's ethical, not like if they were just doing it just to do it, like for like fun, it's not. But if it's for like a greater cause to help our actual human race, then yeah, it is ethical.
So would you have to wait? Is this thing just gonna be a baby you're testing on, or are you gonna wait for it to grow up to be a
No,
full-grown male
it'd be like
female?
you coming out of a machine.
Oh, me full blood? No. Okay.
Yeah, like
once you clone somebody, I can't just step into a machine and I come out the other side. What happens is that with the egg and the nucleus and all that stuff, you have to wait for it to grow. It's pretty much like a plant. I mean, it takes a while for that thing to grow. So I mean, you would have to wait a long time just to be able to get a couple tests in. And what if the tests are unsuccessful after that? I mean, you're waiting 15, 20 years to be able to test on like a full-grown human. Or I mean, you could test on a kid. That's for sure.
It wouldn't be a kid; it'd be a science project.
It's a science project.
Pretty much, it'd be owned by the scientist lab that did the studies. I think they'd have full rights, so it would technically be property, but it'd be human.
But it's still a human though.
Human.
Yeah.
Because it just has a genetic makeup. It just doesn't have any
So what
characteristics.
would be the difference then of taking like maybe people who are mentally handicapped or people who are already vegetables? How would we stop people from saying, my dad's a vegetable, why don't you just go ahead and do some experiments on him? Like, do we get in sort of a gray ethical area there? Like, what would be the difference between this vegetable that some government scientist created
They were
versus a
born
vegetable?
in a test tube.
Okay.
They weren't clones from
And
another
so
person.
how would you prove that?
It'd be like cloning another. Like if Blake gave if Shine gave her eggs to science, and then they just decided to put in all the required elements because they can just make it, and like her denucleated egg, it'd be like a Cheyenne, but it wouldn't be her. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be like a copy.
Still be a human.
It would be human, but it wouldn't be like
So what do you guys
Cheyenne
think about
human.
this?
That's a question. So if you have a cat dies, you pay $35,000 to get a new cat. Like based on everybody's article and stuff, it costs a lot to clone an animal. Or a $35,000 cat. In the end, is it still a cat?
Yeah, it's a cat. It's not born
But
like.
you
But
do
is it a
this.
cat?
Is it a cat?
Is it a cat? It's an exact copy, so that means it's a cat, right?
It's not an exact copy. That's what the article just said. They aren't exact copies. They have the genetic makeups of a cat.
I got you.
Yeah.
If you clone a human, it's a human. It looks like a human, thinks like a human, it's a human.
And so does that mean that it has rights? It has.
I feel like it would.
Okay. Yeah. And what about this issue that Blake brought up about the soul? What
Yeah,
about
that's the
that?
question. Would this human have a soul?
And And when you say soul, Blake, what do you define as soul?
I define a soul as in like, you know, would this thing have personality? Would this thing be able to think? Would it have everything a human has? Would it? I mean,
Personality, if you really wanted to.
Because is there a difference between a body and a body with a soul?
Yes.
Like, so,
The
I
clone
mean,
would just
depending
be
on, I
the
guess, your
body.
religion, you would talk about a body versus a body and a spirit put together, right?
Yeah.
And so you would say that your argument would be a clone is just a body.
It's just the body.
But Chris's argument would say you can't just make a body without having a spirit there, right? A soul.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And then what do you guys think? So it sounds like Blake and Chris are on the same side. What about Cheyenne?
I agree with them because, oh my God, Anthony, if you really wanted the clone to be like an exact copy of you, you have to like act like you, think like you.
Yeah, that's the thing is that it wouldn't be an exact copy only because it hasn't experienced everything you've experienced. Everything that's based on your
and
personality is
like
things
not
you've
the same
experienced.
memories, I guess.
But does that make it okay to experiment on that particular individual?
I mean, as long as it didn't come out of like, you
It
know.
wouldn't come out.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I don't think it matters.
Genetic makeup of Blake, but it's not Blake.
It's just
I-
how do you?
But like,
You don't
if
have any
your mom
evidence
didn't
of.
give birth to you, like, then I don't think it should matter.
So what would be the difference between a human just coming out of a test tube and a human coming out of
The genetic,
a
not genetic,
person?
A person?
I mean,
You take two. All right. So for a person, it takes two.
yeah,
All right.
So
So it takes
would
like
it
it takes
take-
an egg and it takes a sperm, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You get both traits from the parents.
yeah,
And then you'd get the genetic makeup of both parents.
exactly.
So you would
wouldn't
come
you-
out
don't
looking
you-
like your parents.
Yeah. So don't you need an egg and don't you need
Yeah, but
yeah don't you need both?
yeah,
For
just
the
like the
testing
trait,
as well?
just like the genetic makeup of a sperm. Like you can take out the like the enzymes and like the nucleus out of the sperm, right?
Yeah.
You can copy that and then you can just put it into the egg and then it'd just be Cheyenne's egg.
Exactly. It's
Just look like Cheyenne, but it'd be like a
check it
shell.
out.
of
So check it
Cheyenne.
out. So check it out. It's the same process
not.
for no. I mean that's the. I mean you still both need an egg and a
Okay,
sperm.
so you just like the fertilizing the egg
it's
process
both the same thing, but they're just made in different places, pretty much,
with different
properties. I guess.
with different ingredients.
Different
for, like,
ingredients.
I don't know.
There you go, Chris.
Oh, I pretty much already gave my final argument.
So what's your final statement?
Cloning is not right. Cloning humans is not right.
Ryan.
I disagree with cloning.
Yep.
Cloning is only right if it's used for research purposes. That's it.
I think cloning is bad because it's expensive and it takes too long.
I'm on both sides. I can agree. I could agree that humans wouldn't be good for human cloning because it's too. Oh, thank you. Human cloning would be too expensive, and just putting it at the risk of treating humans in a different way only just because they're clones, and still kind of treating just a body. I mean, like kind of a soulless body, only for experiments. It seems a bit wrong, but I do kind of disagree with cloning. So.
I disagree with some of it. Not like if you were just to clone a human just to have another human or like to bring back someone from the dead. That's just like kind of weird.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the same though. If you brought somebody back from the dead, because it's not the same person.
What if they had a clone army? Then would that be ethical just to send a bunch of clones to war?
Realistically, I'm pretty sure that would not happen.
Realistically, I mean,
It could in the future. It could in the future. But
yeah, we're talking about like 10, 20 years in the future now, right? We're not talking about today.
that would take like 200, 300 years to get to that point.
Maybe.
And that would be beneficial though. If it was successful, it would be beneficial.
So it wouldn't be beneficial to cure cancer, Blake?
Yeah, it would. But that would make the world overpopulated.
Having a clone army would make the world overpopulated. So
I think humans just being on the Earth is going to make everything overpopulated. There's over how many people? Over 7 billion people. Think how many people are being born each day from 7 billion people. The world's going to get overpopulated pretty soon. So us just adding to it's going to be a big problem. That's about it. Bye.